What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Overtime Fantasy, where we go beyond the whistle to give you everything you need to slaughter your league.
Slaughter?
With the slaughter.
Yeah, like massive.
Yeah.
I'm Dan Hudgens. I'm here with Mike Kinder, Phil Corella. Tyler Jeffries is not here. Usually when one of us is not here, we're kind of bummed out. But we got a special guest here today. Yeah, like a couple months ago, he was just like an ordinary guy. And now this guy's like a walking legend.
Yeah, he's famous now.
Yeah.
It gets a little brighter when he walks into the room, don't you think?
Yeah, it does, because the guy can't stop smiling.
I don't know. It's kind of a little
We're
different.
messing him up to kind of introduce himself. He's over there grinning ear to ear.
Who we got, Dan?
Yeah, it's actually my big bro, Jay Hudgens. What's going on, man?
What's going on?
Dude, so your first hit on FanDuel, right? Like, how much did you win?
That was roughly about $42,000.
So he started out with the nickname 42KJ.
Yeah.
So what happened next, Jay?
Well,
Just a week ago.
Actually, it's Tuesday. Literally about 3 days ago.
Yeah.
I was going to play the 1.6 Mega Millions, but a long story. I had the balls to drop $1,600 in an NBA entry, and I took the DFS Army down 150K.
So then he turned into 92KJ because that's what he's won in the last 2 months. And then what happened?
And then the very next night, I'm just laying in bed, and I see a $333 entry in. I said, you know what the hell? And I actually went to sleep, wake up to go use the bathroom, check the box scores, and sure enough, there's $10,000 more right there in my account. So it's pretty nice.
Man, oh man.
It's actually been a great week.
So
it's kind of hard to beat a week like that.
So how has life been like? So prior to the winnings compared to what it is now, like, what do you feel like?
I guess. How about Hakuna Matata? I almost want to sing Simba's part. You know what I mean? It's like, it means no worries.
So,
But
is there just paparazzi outside your door now?
Actually, I've gotten a lot of messages,
Really?
loan requests. I told them the interest rate's a little too high right now, but I turned down a lot of applications. But I'm actually thinking about writing a book. 102K in 50 days. So
Yeah.
That's
How
pretty
did
nice.
you
Right.
$102,000?
that easy.
Have they came to your door to try to do the next commercial for FanDuel?
Yeah,
So for you to interview for the job?
I'm open.
All right,
if they're listening.
So because this is a football podcast that we talk about, what was your initial lineup? This was week one of actually game one, week one.
Very first game.
It was a single game lineup. What was your lineup that day?
That was MVP was Julio Jones. So we all recall last year in the playoff game where Julio actually killed them, but dropped that touchdown. Kind of looked like it went through his hands in the end zone.
Yeah.
So I just knew he had a chip on his shoulder to come out and just torch these guys. So it was Julio Jones. I went Jay Ajayi because I'm just known Falcons are kind of weak at the running back position. I figured, hey, LeGarrette Blount's out. Feed him the ball week one, get it going. Went Nelson Aguilar, no Alshon Jeffrey, little slot receiver. And then went Matt Bryan and Tevin Coleman. I'm not a fan of Devontae Freeman, so. And Coleman actually ran well against him in the playoffs, so. And actually, sure enough, it was perfect. It was great. Go ahead.
I was going to say that for the people that's not familiar with the FanDuel tournament, when you play the single game, you pick 5 players and you actually pick an MVP, and that person you put in your MVP spot, whatever points they accrue, you get 1.5 times that. So.
Right. Yep.
So Jay had Julio Jones in his MVP. So whatever he got that day, you times it by 1.5.
And he had a monster game too.
Surprisingly, with no touchdowns, and still outscored Ajayi, who had 2 touchdowns. So he had
crazy.
almost 200 yards, I believe. So
Yeah.
So
It's just amazing that he can't get in the end zone. This guy is putting up monster yards every single week, but
tell me about it. He's in my
gets no
fantasy
love
team.
in the red zone.
I'll tell you what. We can complain all we want, but shoot, he's one of the league leaders in receiving yards. You have to think the touchdowns will come for him. He's just too good to just not score.
Right.
So all right, let's get on with this.
Hold on. I got another question. So, how long have you been playing daily fantasy?
Man, I think FanDuel's open since 2009, 2010. I would honestly say at least a cool 8 years.
Okay, and
At
so
least.
what did that look like up until this year for you, as far as financially?
Definitely, probably more losses than wins. It's something to, gambling. If you can afford it, we're not gambling my,
Yeah.
but it's something to do, something fun to watch, fantasy football, basketball, gamble. So,
And that's kind of the approach that I take.
Yeah.
Now that's why I ask, because I'm assuming most people kind of take that approach of, well, I'm not going to put $100 out there if I can afford $100. I'd put money in it last year, and I'm still playing off of that money. It's getting to the point now where I'm starting to kind of dwindle down to nothing. I might have to add $10 into it just to
of course.
play something.
of course.
But I feel like that's what most people go through,
Yeah.
and that's what you were going through up until this year. And now you have the money to actually put it into, because like if you didn't have that $50,000 to begin, that $42,000 to begin with, you wouldn't have put what was it, $1,600 or something like that.
$1,590.
Yeah. So $1,590 that you put into that NBA lineup. That
It was.
I think Dan had a higher score than you in that day. But the reason why you won the money is because you were in a smaller
Exactly.
event.
Most of those contests you'll see those $4, $9 entry fee, but you're playing against $200,000 entries, and 200,000 entries. The one I played the other night, 67. I mean, you're still playing against 200,000 plus more entries, and in those type of situations, people's strategy is a little bit different. They're not going to take that risk to those, so they're taking these basic, solid, safe floor players, and hey, I just love Marvin Bagley. That's all I'm going to say right now. I am a Duke guy, and I'm in love with Marvin Bagley. And the funny thing is, just real quick, that first hit. Honestly, I'll admit it right now. I had $7 in my FanDuel account. I was working on that man cave, working hard, tired, exhausted. I go upstairs and I see my cousin and Dan over here actually talking in our group chat. I'm like, man, I ain't playing. Single game, I hate it. I go check the only lineup. I mean, the only tournament, because I like big tournaments. I don't play for $100. I'm looking for the grand prize of, something nice. This is what we play for. And sure enough, I say, let me put $25 in here. $25. And sure enough, I wake up. I fell asleep at halftime, looked good. Check the scores, and boom. Life's been different since, September 6th? The morning of September 7th, I wake up, and sure enough, life has been different. But it's been cool, you know what I mean?
That's awesome.
So,
man.
it's sweet.
Yeah, and that's awesome. I mean, that's good for you. Good on you.
Good on you.
Yeah. It's been nice.
And for the people that listen to the podcast, the people that tune in to Facebook Live on Sunday mornings, we've been doing some of the Facebook Lives at Jay's house, who has, I'll say it right now, he has the best man cave in Virginia. Like, I'll put his man cave up against anyone's man cave. So, and I mean, thanks for coming up here, because your information is going to be valuable, because yeah, you are a legend right now. It's hard for me to look at you as a brother.
So, and just one last thing, when you hit that 42,000, if you would have hit it alone, because you hit the highest, the highest score of the tournament, but you tied with how many people?
I shared it with basically me and 8 others. So I shared it was 9 of us total. So what FanDuel does, they take 1 through 9, the cash prizes. We basically split $375,000 between 9 of us. I think the grand prize was
$250K.
$250K.
Yeah.
So that could have been leave of absence, see you later, 2-week notice. But you know what I mean. So it's all good.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us.
Of course,
we're
thanks
glad
for
to have
having
you.
me.
I know we've been trying off and on to get you here whenever somebody sits out, so we're glad that this worked out.
Yeah, I think after his winnings, we're like, we gotta get him on the show.
It's
Like before, it's like, I don't know.
Back-to-back
we need to get a
nights.
segment on here.
I mean, it's been
just
unreal.
to bring Jay back down to earth, he did finish last in our fantasy football league last year. So
Yeah.
That's just to bring him back down there.
Well, I think we know where his sole purpose.
yeah.
His sole purpose was. You know what I mean? Like, this little chump change is cool with that win, but I'm trying to win that times like 50.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
All right, so let's move it on. What we got next there?
Yeah, all right. So we're going to talk about kind of a brief wrap up what happened in last night's game. So Friday we're going to do the starts and sits. We got your Kinder's Kings and Phil's flops, and then the fantasy stud of the past, who belongs to Jay. Special guest.
Yeah, special guest.
Barry Sanders. Thank you.
Good job.
Yeah.
More.
I'll take my prize money now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If I guess it right, I get $20K.
Dang.
Yeah. All right. So yesterday, the Texans beat the Dolphins pretty handily. They was kind of close at half. What kind of takeaways do we have from this game?
Deshaun Watson is back.
Yeah. Efficient, man.
No, they looked good yesterday, man. Poor Will Fuller, R.I.P. He's out for the rest of the year for his ACL. So that's unfortunate. I always hate. I don't care who it is. I hate to see somebody go down for the year. They work too hard to do something like that. So that's a bummer to see.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I didn't realize how fast he was until last night.
Yeah.
Because they were showing his long touchdown, and on his route, the guy that was chasing him was struggling. I mean, he was head down, legs were kicking, going crazy, and Will Fuller's just smooth sailing.
Yeah.
Like, bro, I'm only in gear 3.
Yeah.
I got I got a lot more left. That was like, this guy is smoking fast. So to see him go down is a big bummer for Deshaun Watson. But if you have DeAndre Hopkins, that definitely helps you out.
Yeah. So Will Fuller being out, does that would you target someone like Kiki QT?
Hold on, wait, Kinder, can you say that name again?
Kiki QT.
Good job. All right, so no, I don't think.
I don't know.
think
just
Kiki.
trying to serenade him.
I really don't think that's a target you go for. I think I like the tight end that they threw to last night.
Yeah.
I think he'll get more involved, and they might try to utilize both running backs with Alfred Blue and Lamar Miller like they did last night. But I think it's going to be a heavy load of DeAndre Hopkins.
What kind of takeaway you got, Jay?
Well, I have Kuti, or however you say his name, in our season, actually. So, and he's a slot man. He's a safe underneath guy. I mean, who else do they have on the outside to line up? You're not going to line up Alfred Blue on the outside or any of these guys. It's going to be creative that they're going to have to get to, but maybe, like I said, I love Hopkins right now, but man, Sammy Coates, I don't know. I wouldn't take it.
Ew, that's
I know. But one thing to look at, I'm kind of bummed out as, or still positive note, would be Kenyon Drake still looks pretty good, man. I feel pretty bummed out for trading him early in the year. I abandoned him, but I think that's a positive sign to take away from the Miami side of the game. Drake looks really good to run on that Texans defense. So.
Oh, yeah.
But
and these Thursday night games are hard to judge because it's a quick week. You got to recover fast, and a lot of players get banged up on Thursday night games. It's no secret, no surprise here. It's like every single Thursday night, a solid player goes down. And it's hard to base on is Kenyon Drake that good, or are the Texans defense just really banged up? You know what I'm saying? Like it's hard to tell. Yeah. But from last night, he was running very good in between the tackles. I mean, they utilize him on trick plays. Yeah. But one guy that I kind of liked, and I figured it was going to happen, was Devontae Parker.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Just because of all the talk that was going on with him and stuff like that. I think that he'll be – it's either like trade bait, like, all right, this guy is good enough to get traded now, or they'll just make a big part for him in the offense.
Yeah, like Devontae Parker, there's all this talk that, he's not a good receiver, but you cannot tell me that Jakeem Grant and Danny Amendola are – like more talented than Devontae Parker. There's no way you can do that.
It's a bigger issue there. It can, because he has all the talent there. To be and we saw it last night. Like that one-handed grab across the middle. Like, okay, that's not an average catch that players make. That's a guy that has the potential to be great in this league. So, but yeah, I don't think I think last night he made a good case to get traded. If they do, like I guess he could be a good value for somebody. But I think you're right too. With the Dolphins, they don't have that kind of caliber player, and if he's able to step up like he did last night, I say you definitely start him in your lineup if you have him.
So he's fantasy relevant.
After last night, we'll see what happens next week, but it's either he gets traded to a team that's going to utilize him, or they'll utilize him more in that offense, and I think it would be smart to get him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to just take us back for just a second. We need to move on, but I think Kiki Cutie gets a bump up, and I honestly think like DeAndre Hopkins might get a little bump down because he doesn't have that threat of. There's not that threat of Will Fuller streaking down the field and catching those touchdowns like there was last night and in the weeks prior. So I think like DeAndre Hopkins, like he's still DeAndre Hopkins. He's got the the cannon of Deshaun Watson throwing to him, so he's still going to be very, very relevant. I just don't think this is going to bump him up. I think he stays about the same. I don't think this really helps DeAndre Hopkins much.
Yeah. But I wouldn't say it bumps him down at all.
No, I do. That's why I went back and said, I don't think it changes him. I think he just stays the same. I still think he stays the same DeAndre Hopkins.
Right, because even if QD comes back and when he's healthy, they have to line up. Who's the third option at receiver there? That means you got DeAndre Hopkins and Kiki Cutie. So that means to me that's basically easier to cover.
I want the number 2 receiver for the Texans. I don't care who it is.
I think it's Cutie, right? QT or whatever
now.
Yeah. And he's a slot man, so he's not going to be lined up on the outside. He'll be lined up on the inside. That's safe underneath, that blanket. I'm looking at double-digit targets for him the rest of the year out.
Okay.
He's taking Fuller's stuff. I mean, he's that blanket. We're going to really see how good Watson is. Yeah. Can he carry his team?
Right.
Because Lamar, I think if anything, maybe Lamar Miller takes a little something too. So
yeah.
So one more thing, Lamar Miller ran really well. Maybe it was kind of that revenge factor because he came from Miami. They didn't. They didn't want to sign him. He might have had a little bit of motivation. But me personally, I'm not banking on him being like a super productive running back the rest of the way.
Especially because the Dolphins, I mean, he matched up really well with Miami last night. Especially with the way Kerryon Johnson shredded him the week before.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I think that was just a really good matchup going forward. We'll see. But he did run really well last night.
Yeah. Plus, Dante Foreman is scheduled to be off the PUP next week. So
that could change things.
It's going to be a little messy there.
Yep. All right, so going forward, what else we got, Dan?
All right, we got the start sit, so Kinder's Kings, Phil's Flops. So just briefly what we're going to do is we're going to go through each position. We're going to go who we would like to start, at each position, and who we would probably sit at each position. We'll start with the starts. Who do you got first, Mike, at quarterback?
All right, so I have my quarterback start of the week is going to be Andy Dalton.
Yep.
Playing Tampa Bay.
I had him too.
That's kind of a shootout. So I think Andy Dalton's going to have a big game. So for obvious reasons. He had a bad game last week, and I think some people are going to kind of be turned off from him because of that. But it's Andy Dalton. That's kind of what he does in primetime. Like, he doesn't have good games in primetime. I think he comes back. I think he has a phenomenal game this week. And
that's the thing with fantasy. Like, it's a game of what have you done for me lately? And you look at Andy Dalton and you see that goose egg you put up, and you're hesitant to put him in the lineup again. But just like you said, man, it's the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers, Phil. I mean, how bad are the Buccaneers on defense? Pass defense.
On a scale to 1 to what?
I don't care what the scale is. How bad are they?
As high as the scale goes, that's where they're at.
Yeah,
exactly. Right. It just depends on which Buccaneers show up that week, and I'm really talking about the players they have because we don't even know who they have anymore.
Yeah, they're banged up.
So who's up next with a start at quarterback?
I'll go ahead and say Mitch Trubisky against the Jets. Yeah. I mean, he's putting up solid points every single week.
Is Mitch Trubisky even part of this segment anymore? I think people are starting him every week now.
Well, I think people are starting Andy Dalton too every week.
Yeah.
No.
I don't
see why you wouldn't. I really don't see why you wouldn't.
Well, last week.
Really?
I really don't see why you wouldn't.
Yeah. People people see a bad game from Andy Dalton and they just get scared of him because like he does that kind of stuff, you know. But Trubisky, what I'm getting at here with Trubisky, he is just every week putting up numbers, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
And who does Chicago got this week?
The Jets.
Yeah, the Jets.
And that's why I'm saying, because the weeks prior it was like, well, Trubisky might, Trubisky this and that. I'm thinking Trubisky, and we said it last podcast, I think Trubisky isn't every single week starter.
Yeah.
I do, but for those who are still kind of iffy about him, definitely start him this week. Going up against the Jets, banged up defense, go for it.
Absolutely.
Not only passing, his rushing ability.
Yeah.
He ran for 71 yards sideways before he scored last week. I'm just saying.
What was his total rushing yards last week, too? Like, he had close to 90.
It was 80 plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's impressive for a quarterback, man.
That's like a running back that you start.
Yeah.
Like you're one of your best running backs, 80 yards and a touchdown.
Like, he had more rushing yards in that one game than David Johnson has all year. Like, not combined. Like, I don't think David Johnson...
game.
Yeah, I don't think David Johnson has had an 80-yard rushing game yet.
Yeah.
He might have. I'd have to go back and look. But
all right.
Who do you got, Jay?
I'm definitely going tough one because I have Aaron Rodgers and Luck in a season, but I love Luck this week. You look at his last 4 weeks; he's thrown 4, 4, 3, and 4 pass touchdowns. I mean,
wow, really?
He throws the ball the most in the league. So at the end of the day, you look for opportunity. He's not handing the ball off to, even though Marlon Mack had that nice game last week, but playing Oakland, I mean, I'm trying to find a better matchup out there. I mean, the dude that drops back 50 times a game, I'll take it all day long.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I love Luck this week, even though I have Rodgers. I'm debating between the two, but if you have Luck out there, I just... Unless it's Mahomes, Rodgers, or somebody, I'm thinking Luck's a must start.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to see Andrew Luck on your bench, but I'll say this: Aaron Rodgers, like this might seem like an obvious start to a lot of people, but against the Rams are like I think Vegas has them as 10-point favorites. If you look at the Rams defense. Because there's all this talk about the Rams have this monster defense, and you know, that's really not true. Like they have a really good front with their D line and their linebackers. Their secondary is their weakness. The teams that they played who? They played the Raiders, Carr. They played the Cardinals, Bradford. They played the Niners, Beathard. Like who? I mean, you're gonna shut these guys out. The quarterbacks that are fantasy relevant and Phillip Rivers, Kirk Cousins, and Russell Wilson, if you have the average of their quarterback rating, it's like 118. Aaron Rodgers is going to be throwing on these guys, so it's going to be.
And he's getting.
You do not sit Aaron Rodgers.
And he's getting Allison and Cobb.
Oh yeah,
I love Rodgers this week.
So I actually picked the Packers to win this week.
Wow,
I did.
Back-to-back 400 yards for Rodgers.
Coming off a bye too,
and coming off a bye,
so
and healthy receiving core.
Healthy. So
hopefully that brace comes off that knee this week.
If that brace is not on, oh my gosh!
And I know because the week before when he ran for 15 yards at close to the end of the game, he was running pretty fast.
Yeah.
Like you could tell it's getting better slowly. Yeah. That week off, man, that was big. So
and that brace is just there for support, just to make sure nothing's too loose in there. Like it's not there because
to stop the pain. Because I know exactly how that feels. It doesn't help at all.
Yeah.
All right, so you just talked about yours. We're going to move on to my king,
which is
it was between Luck and Goff, and I went with Jared Goff. I think Jared Goff versus the Packers. I think he's going to have a big game. It could be a shootout there in Los Angeles. I almost said St. Louis. But they're in Los Angeles. It's going to take some really getting used to there. I'm still saying San Diego religiously.
Yeah.
So that's going to take some getting used to. So yeah, Jared Goff's my king.
Is Cooper Kupp still out?
Yeah.
Yes, he is out. He is out.
And I really don't think it's going to affect the passing game. You still got Woods and Cooks, who are. I mean, that's great matchups. For them individually, so
and I think
Goff
they'll get
should have
Gurley
a good
involved
game.
too with that too.
Oh yeah.
So I mean,
Gurley wants to break records.
he's on his way.
All right, let's go to some of the quarterback sits. You want to start it, Phil?
Yeah. This week I'm sitting Matt Stafford. That's my sit.
Whoa, okay.
Every single week,
Now,
his pass attempts have been going.
You got a Lions fan right here. So.
Understood.
I hate
Understood.
that.
Now, and there's something against the Lions because I think they're just going a different route with their offense now. Every single week, Stafford's passing attempts are going down. Every single week. Last week, they were at 25 attempts. Or 25 to 28 attempts last week, which the first 2 weeks, he had 90. Kerryon Johnson is the reason why. They're going to start utilizing him a lot more in the running game with him and LeGarrette Blount. I believe that's the reason why you sit him, just because they're going to be going up against the Seattle defense, which, I mean, they're not that bad against the pass, but the run game is where they're struggling at. So I think the more vocal point is Kerryon Johnson this week. So sit Stafford if you got him.
Yeah.
That's my sit.
That's the thing with a quarterback. You want a quarterback to throw the ball a lot. Bottom line.
And not saying that he'll have a bad game. It's just like fantasy-wise, he's not going to get you those points
Right, yep.
this week. So, in my opinion.
Okay.
All right.
You want to go next, Mike?
Yeah, I'll go next. I'm going to sit Cam Newton versus Baltimore.
Wow.
Baltimore has been just shutting people down, man. Like that defense is legit. The only person they hadn't shut down was Andy Dalton. Even Drew Brees got 200 yards, and he did end up getting 2 touchdowns. But Baltimore's defense is the truth. Cam Newton, I think he's got some issues going on with his shoulder. I don't like Cam Newton this week against Baltimore.
Okay. What you got, Jay? You want to go next?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you hate Stafford. I don't like Russell Wilson this week.
Oh.
At all.
Is it because he's playing the Lions?
You could say that. But, however, he's running at a career low. He's not gaining those rushing yards, so you're not going to get those points that you're accustomed to. But, I mean, on the road, Lions just got my boy Snacks, Damon Harrison, run stuffer. So that run game, if he does play, I think should improve. And Lions pass defense, outside of that Aaron Rodgers, which he was playing come from behind, I mean, they've allowed, they're top 5 in passing yards allowed. So, I mean, I just don't see a big shootout game here. Russell Wilson just hasn't been that fantasy, stud this year. So, I mean,
I think this week's a big run game this week.
They're going to try to feed it, Carson and all that. I'd see like a 2017, 24-17 type game. Maybe.
Yeah.
I definitely
Like 2 touchdowns, but.
Yeah. Russell Wilson has been kind of a letdown a little bit. He's still got a lot of football left.
Yeah. And honestly, his biggest game was against the Rams lately. In the last couple of games, it's been the Rams.
And he didn't even throw for 200 yards. But if you look at his touchdown totals, he has pretty much multiple touchdown games in almost every game this year. So touchdowns are there, it's just the yards are not.
I think the rushing yards, You're
Yeah.
talking about a guy who could run for 60, 70 yards, you're looking at 6, 7 extra points on top of the passing.
Yeah.
So a guy who's averaging, 24, 25 fantasy points for a year is probably getting you 17,
16,
18,
which
low
is-
20s, very low 20s.
Yeah.
So
It's just average nowadays.
And it's crazy because a lot of people, like myself, drafted Russell Wilson a little early, thinking that he was going to be that vocal point and get those rushing yards. But those rushing yards are becoming sacks. So,
Russell Wilson, in the past, he's been like a top 5 fantasy quarterback every year. So it's not a dumb. You didn't make a dumb choice by drafting him. Like that was a good draft. That was a good draft pick up until now.
Right.
Yeah.
Just because of that offensive line and those rushing yards are
good
becoming
point.
sacks. I mean, he's trying to scramble away, and he's got barely any time to get the ball to his hands before he's got to make a decision.
Definitely. That offensive line is extremely weak. And honestly, another point I was going to make, since I am a Lions fan, we are generating sacks at like the 5th highest rate. I've seen that stat today. So, big game for Detroit D. It's my sleeper, too, coming up. But, yeah.
Coming up after this.
Spoiler alert.
Coming up next
Coming up next.
on Overtime Fantasy.
Coming up at 11.
That was like some Howard Stern.
All right, who you got, Dan?
All right, so the route I took is if you were trying to stream a quarterback, don't look at Case Keenum. Really don't. He's playing the Chiefs, and, from an outsider's perspective, you say Chiefs, oh, okay, they don't have a good defense. Well, one, they're at Kansas City. 2, he already played the Chiefs at Denver a couple weeks prior, and he laid a goose egg. 245 yards and an interception. No touchdowns. Case Keenum has thrown an interception in every single game this year. So I really think that he might get pulled at halftime. Like, I really do. Like, I really feel like he's gonna have a bad outing, and the coach is already on the hot seat. Say, hey, we need a spark somewhere. It might be something to save his job. Like, I think they're in desperation mode, and the Chiefs, we know how good they are on offense. They'll just bury you in those points, man.
Definitely.
I wouldn't target Case Keenum at all.
I actually picked up the Chiefs D, and just a side stat, their points averaged at home is less than 17. So far this year at home, they haven't given up their average points given up is about 17, 16 points. So Case Keenum is definitely that Matt Castle free agent this year. So I think he is overrated trash. So.
Oh man,
sorry, he had that one catch or the pass to Diggs, but
yeah,
he's a good guy. We love Case Keenum.
Yeah,
blue collar.
Stream someone else, not Case.
Who's your flop, Phil?
I'm flopping Kirk Cousins.
Really?
Whoa!
Against the
no,
Saints
sir.
on Sunday night.
Kirk Cousins.
Explain.
Sunday night. Now the Saints just picked up another corner, Eli Apple.
Yep, I saw that.
All right. The Vikings defense, I don't think, is ready for Drew Brees at home or even in the dome. I don't care where it is. They're not ready for Drew Brees.
It's at Minnesota, I thought.
I thought it was in the dome.
It's in the dome regardless.
Sorry,
a repeat of last year's NFC Championship game to go to the Super Bowl or whatever.
Wow.
It's at Minnesota.
It's in Minnesota. They're not ready. Now, Kirk Cousins is going to struggle this week. That's my prediction. That's bold. I know it's hard to sit him. He's going to flop this week.
That is
So-
bold.
Man,
So-
that is extremely
You have
bold.
Diggs and Thielen, arguably the best one too, Phil. Man,
He's flopping.
So are the Vikings scoring 20 points?
No.
I'm thinking I'm playing Kirk Cousins
19.
MVP single game FanDuel.
They're scoring 19.
Oh my
Yeah,
god!
all right. Yeah, I mean, look, look. I've seen Kirk Cousins on the Redskins, and I've seen him just have terrible games, like inexcusably bad games. So that's not a crazy thing to say. So
Yeah, it is like Kirk Cousins. But playing the Saints doesn't have a very good defense. Phil, if this comes true, you're going to be suspect. You're going to have the FBI at your door. They're going to be following you like this guy time
You know
travels.
what? You guys kind of did the same thing when I said that Joe Flacco was going to flop.
Yeah,
You're like, there's no way
You're right.
he's flopping.
You're right.
And he flopped.
He flopped.
So, hey.
I'm excited for this.
It's a lot easier to name a king.
It is. It definitely is.
All right. So,
I mean-
now my flops, if they come true, I'm a genius.
You're a genius, yeah.
And I'm not going to say the next part because I'm a genius and it's going to work. Okay? Regardless. And if you say like, oh, well, Phil said he's going to flop, we're going to edit that out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so cool. Yeah. So Kirk Cousins flopping this week.
All right.
I mean, oof.
That's my bold.
Is 280 yards and 2 touchdowns a flop? Is that really a flop?
200 yards, definite. Switch the TDs to interceptions.
Oh god,
Dang.
he's got the
All
best. Go ahead.
All right.
Thielen will have 100. Diggs will have there, but Kirk Cousins will have 0 touchdowns.
Wow.
Wow.
Diggs starts
bold.
going to Adam Thielen.
yeah,
Exactly.
it's gonna
Trickery.
be
If
it's
that
gonna be
happens,
3
I will be
special teams
suspect.
touchdowns.
All right, so
All right, go next.
moving
Just
on.
saying, I'm starting. Kirk
Pick up
Cousins
Vikings. Pick up Vikings kicker. That's about
Moving
it.
on, I had quite a few running back starts
Yeah,
that were like right there on the cusp. Like, do you start them? Do you not? Like, so I got to pick one of 3 that I wrote down here, and I'm going to go with Isaiah Crowell.
wow.
Because here's the thing: Bilal Powell is out. Elijah McGuire has not come back yet. It's just Isaiah Crowell there. There's nobody else. Like, who's the backup?
Cannon, Tremaine Cannon. Is that what?
No, Trent Cannon.
Trent Cannon. I'm sorry.
Trent-
For him to catch the ball out of the backfield.
Trent Cannon.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, I think Isaiah Crowell is going to be a good start. only for pure volume.
By default, so basically.
Yes, by default. Like, strictly on just pure volume.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I can see that. I mean, if it's the only running back there, you know what I mean? Basically. Basically, the only running back there, there's nobody. Khalil Powell isn't going to try to steal any of his carries this week. So, I mean, I don't hate that. It's hard for me to start a Jets running back.
I hate Isaiah Crowell so much. God.
In Chicago, I see a bad game there.
Yeah.
That's that.
And
I mean,
that's
you
why-
might be looking at 20 carries, 53 yards, and that's about what you get. And you got your workhorse, man.
That's what made that one tough, like, because they are playing the Bears.
Yeah.
But I think with him, without Powell there, because it was kind of like a timeshare, without Powell there, I think Crowell gets a little bit more involved in the passing game. I think he just gets every carry out of the backfield.
Yeah. All right. I'll go next with this one. I had a few. Last week I said Marlon Mack. He has a great matchup this week, so I think that's a little bit of an obvious pick, saying that he'd be a start.
So, while you're on the Marlon Mack, because I feel like you're about to move on, right? You're not going to stick with Marlon Mack, are you?
I could stick with them, but
I know. Here's the thing. Here's the reason why I want to stick with this one, because I know that he's questionable right now. Like
is he? Okay.
He hasn't really been practicing a whole lot, so I put Naeem Hines as well, only if Marlon Mack is out.
Oh yeah.
He's questionable with an ankle.
Yeah. So he hasn't really been practicing a whole lot this week.
Yeah.
So I put Naeem Hines as my start. Now, if Marlon Mack is out, you start Hines.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt about that. So all right, so if he's questionable, I'll go to the other side of the ball with Jets Bears. I'll go Jordan Howard. Disappointing pretty much the whole year. He might have had one or two really decent fantasy games, but you figure, I mean, the Jets are not the Jets. The Bears could be up in this game, and are they just going to phase Jordan Howard out this offense? I don't think so. I think they need Jordan Howard to be a part of this offense for them to be as efficient as possible. And the Jets are, they're not terrible against the run, but they're not great. They're, below average. I think Jordan Howard can have a bounce back game against the Jets.
So would you start Jordan Howard over Tariq Cohen?
No, I wouldn't do that. No.
Okay. I was just wondering where you stood with that.
I would put Cohen over Howard.
Okay.
But if you're in a bind and you have Howard, and like I said, fantasy, you see the games he's put up in the past, I would look past that and I would put him in the lineup.
All right. I mean, I was talking about, Stafford not having a great game because of Kerryon Johnson. So that's honestly in this game, I like both running backs with Kerryon Johnson and Chris Carson. I feel like they'll both have a heavy workload because I think that's where their offense is going to. So if you have Carson or Kerryon Johnson, I think those are my starters.
So you're playing both in that game.
If you had,
If I have both
I like
of them,
that.
I'm playing them.
if you had
I'll
to
tell you
choose
what.
between one, who would it be?
Of course, it's Chris Carson.
Oh,
Now,
Don't do that.
Nah, he's jumped on the Kerryon Johnson train here
he
lately. too.
did.
well, you guys remember my bold prediction at the beginning of the year was that Kerryon Johnson was going to have a better rookie year than Saquon Barkley.
Oh yes, you did. Yeah.
So
Obviously, that's not going to be
I
true.
like both
but-
of these running backs, but I'm a Chris Carson guy, so I think Carson will have the better game.
Yeah.
So
Just
if
because
you-
Russell Wilson's not going to have a great one.
What I do love, like you said, like if I have both of them, I'm starting both of them. I love that scenario when it comes to playing fantasy football and you have both running backs playing in the same game. Like especially if they're like dominant running backs, because then no matter what, when that clock is running on that field, you have a potential to get points. Like I absolutely love that.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so just to touch real fast, my other start would have been Raheem Mostert.
Mozart.
Mozart.
That's
Mozart.
what we like to
And
go
it's
with
only
here.
because they're playing Arizona, and Burrito is questionable.
Yeah.
So that was another start for me.
Yeah.
Do you even start Burrito?
No,
Honestly,
I feel
if
like
you have him,
can't.
just
Like,
because of him going out every single other play.
no,
I
like,
would try not to.
He's
Okay.
questionable going into every game, and every game he gets hurt. Like I feel like you can't have any kind of reliability putting him in your lineup.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
What you got, Jay?
Yeah. Okay.
Are you doing another running back start?
Yeah.
Okay.
He hasn't even done. Yeah, I don't think he's done.
I
it.
thought he did one. My bad.
Yeah,
See, I always get lost. I get lost, guys.
I had a couple. I had two written down. I mean, one. I think. Would y'all say Adrian Peterson's almost an everyday start, every week start?
I think it depends on the matchup.
I think
The
so
volume,
right
and
now.
especially with them, the Giants absolutely trading
Tanking
away
almost.
Harrison, their best run stuffer, and then they're already trash against the run with them. So I think that's a play. But I'm gonna give you a flex play with the running back position. If you had two running backs on buys,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here, guy.
Say it.
Yeah.
Say it.
I like Doug Martin. Doug Martin is
Okay.
coming back. He's hungry. He hasn't touched the football in a long time. The Lynch is done. Hey, I think Doug Martin could definitely be a sleeper play if he's definitely out there.
Yeah.
I like him or Rashard there.
Yeah, that's what I was
Rashard, I like Rashard too,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
definitely if you think the Raiders are going to be down in this game, Rashard has had 8, 6, 7 targets the last 3 weeks. So if you think
Wow.
about some dink and dunks, and he's had definitely good success as far as I think finding the end zone. So definitely Rashard.
Yeah,
If you
he
think
was
it's going to be a blowout with the Colts, dink and dunks, trying to catch up, that third down back, he's definitely a very, very good sleeper.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think the Colts are going to be up in this game anyways. So
And the Colts are really not that good though, so
Yeah.
it's not like they're so much better than the Raiders.
They play that Tampa too, keep everything in front. So I mean, that Rashard little dunks out the backfield. He might be able to take one. All it takes is
Yeah.
one. So
Yeah.
All right, so moving on to my king.
Girly.
My king is James Conner.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I think he's, and like you said, Phil, it's so much easier to do kings. Oh, I was going to say second flop for real. I was like, holy cow, man, that's going to be impressive. Like that would be a battle there if that was your flop. Now, I mean, he's playing Cleveland. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers come to this game a little upset. Like I feel like they're going to expect like, no, we should not have tied Cleveland. There's no way we should. So I think they come in this game a little upset. I think they play with some attitude. I think they get up kind of early, and I think James Conner carries the load on this one.
I was talking to people I work with, and I know with you being a Browns fan, I think the Steelers are just gonna pummel the Browns this week. I think it's just a statement game. That, just like you said, week 1, you know they tied, and the Steelers are kind of gonna look at that and say, we're not as bad as you guys. We're gonna show you who's the best in this division. So yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Sorry to say that, but
No. I mean, I feel the same way. I feel like the Steelers feel that they're in another class than the Browns.
yeah,
And
definitely.
they're going to come out trying to prove that this week. And if they don't, if they come out and and it's a close game, or the Browns win, or they go into overtime again, whatever it is, then that says something for the Browns. Honestly, that says that okay, the Browns are in the same class as these other teams that they're playing.
Yeah.
So that it's a statement game for the Browns as well. But I think the Steelers kind of run away with this one.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be interested in watching this game real close. So, all right, let's go on to some of these running back sits. We want to start it off?
Well, keeping on that game, my sit is Nick Chubb.
Okay.
Going against the Bucks last week, it was a very great matchup for Nick Chubb, and he put up 14 fantasy points, I think. He had a touchdown late, or it was maybe it was before halftime. Regardless, he had a touchdown, and I think this week you're right, Kendra. I think the Steelers just are pissed off about what happened last time they played them. They're going to be down, I think, very early, and they're going to have to throw the ball to try to stay in it. So I don't think Chubb's going to have a great game. So I'm sitting him.
Yeah. I mean, last week he wasn't a great matchup against the Bucks, but he did.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying that just because it's the Bucks. You know,
Yeah.
because just being a Bucks fan, I'm very upset with them right now. So they're always just a terrible matchup every week.
Yeah.
All right, so just a quick spin-off of Nick Chubb.
Uh-huh.
My sit is Carlos Hyde.
Oh,
And the reason being for this, I know that Carlos Hyde is eventually going to take that Leonard Fournette role while Leonard Fournette is out. I think he is going to be the ball carrier for the majority. But Carlos Hyde just got traded to Jacksonville, last Saturday. So he hopped on a plane and flew down to Jacksonville. And then now they hop on a plane and they fly to London. And they play Sunday morning at 9:30 in the morning. When has this guy had time to, one, learn the playbook, two, get that chemistry with the quarterback exchange, with finding those holes that are opening up differently in Jacksonville than they did in Cleveland? Mm-hmm. So I feel like this is a week just to kind of sit him on your bench, see what he can do there in Jacksonville, see what his role may be, because it could be a 50-50 split, and it could be a T.J. Yeldon type game. So I feel like you just kind of slow down. Let's not start Carlos Hyde yet.
If you don't start Carlos Hyde this week, then you will probably never start him, because if Fournette comes back healthy, would you seriously start Hyde at all?
Only if Fournette gets hurt again.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, because after this game they have a bye, and then they go, so week 10 would be when he's available?
Yeah, so Hyde is pretty much just a fancy handcuff at this point.
No, that makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
if Leonard Fournette is coming back after the bye, that's totally true.
Yeah.
But I'm just not willing to roll the dice on playing him this week, because I don't think that the Jacksonville Jaguars picked him up just to fill the spot while Leonard Fournette is out.
Yeah.
Because that's 1 week. I mean, you're not gonna send a 5th round draft pick just for to protect yourself for 1 week.
Yeah.
So I don't think that they did it for that reason. I think they did it more for in case Leonard Fournette gets hurt again.
Yeah.
And he's going to fill maybe the T.J. Yeldon position while Fournette's in.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, my sit is actually T.J. Yeldon. So
Okay.
pretty much don't even play the Jags running backs. The Philadelphia Eagles are really good against the run. And just like you said, it's going to be in London.
One team always shows up.
Look,
That's what it
like
seems
Blake Bortles, that you just got benched for Cody Kessler. He is not going to take shots. I just feel like the Eagles could just dominate this game, and it could just be ugly quick. Yeldon could get those catches out of the backfield, but I'm not excited about that at all. So I wouldn't. If you had better options than Yeldon, I would probably look to that.
Yeah, the London games are they're hard to start people in sometimes.
Yeah. What you got, Jay?
I'm looking at sitting. I wouldn't touch Alex Collins this week. I just think Carolina has a good front. Their pass defense is suspect, but when you talk about passing, Buck Allen takes all that from Alex Collins. So
Yeah.
if you're looking at Alex Collins, if you got nothing else, of course you're going to play him. But Alex Collins, I just don't like him. Carolina's front seven's pretty good. They've held running backs pretty good this season. So
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not playing Alex Collins whatsoever.
All right. Well, who's gonna flop for you, Phil, this week? You said Kirk Cousins. That's bold. So you can do.
I feel like I have to
again?
get bolder with my flops. You know what I'm saying? I can't keep saying okay, let's this week. Let's see terrible running back situation.
Peyton Barber.
Let's flop LaShawn McCoy. Is he even healthy? We can't go there.
Yeah.
You know who's gonna flop this week, guys?
Who is it?
Your smile just got me all excited. You're about to hit us with some craziness.
You know who's flopping this week?
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't
Phil,
say his name.
I see it in your eyes.
What?
Are you
Who
serious?
am I saying?
Go ahead. Just say it.
Kareem Hunt.
Oh, okay, cool.
What?
Boy.
Really?
Kareem Hunt is flopping.
Oh my gosh.
They're playing Denver.
This is why, okay? They're going to be blowing them out with so many other options that they have at the helm of the Kansas City's amazing offense. Kareem Hunt, he's flopping this week. Tyreek Hill has a monster game. Travis Kelce has a monster game. And I think even Sammy Watkins has a monster game.
Yep.
Kareem Hunt,
just be irrelevant.
flopping. Now, like I said, these flops doesn't necessarily mean you sit them.
No,
Right?
no, yeah.
You don't sit these guys. I just feel like from last week's performance, he's flopping from that.
Yeah.
Okay? So Hunt could easily have a touchdown or whatever, but it's not going to be a huge vocal point as he was last week.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hear that. I like that.
Would you like to know what he ran against Denver the first time?
Well,
121 yards and a touchdown and 54 receiving yards.
All right, he'll flop from that.
Look
I guarantee
Flop
you.
from that.
He will flop from that.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Let's move on to the wide receivers.
God, I can't wait till all these flops come true.
wide receiver. My wide receiver start. Robert Woods.
Yes. Oh man.
Robert Woods playing Green Bay. I said it earlier. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. Last week with Cooper Kupp out, Robert Woods got 5 catches for 78 yards, and I think he gets about that many yardage and possibly a touchdown. So even if he goes out there and gets you 8-9 points this week, he's still a solid start for you. So I think you start Robert Woods.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's going to be a shootout. I don't care what y'all say. Aaron Rodgers is going to put up points, so it's going to be a shootout.
All right. I'll go ahead and take it. I like John Brown.
Oh, okay.
Baltimore
okay.
Ravens. I like him in this matchup. Reading out a stat here that when John Brown lines up on the outside, 76% of the time, and that is the weakest point of the Carolina Panthers defense, is the outside corner position.
Okay.
So I think he has a big game this week. Other than that, I don't think the Ravens' offense produces much. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game, but I think John Brown, if it's one person that breaks out for the Ravens this week, it's going to be John Brown.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're right, man. Like, if you go back and see who has done well against the Panthers, it's the receivers that play outside. It really is. Odell Beckham. I mean, obviously, John Brown's not Odell Beckham. I think Ridley didn't really have a really good performance against the Panthers as well. So, yeah, they, their cornerbacks are, I ain't going to say they're bad, but they're definitely burnable for sure.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go Geronimo Allison.
Okay.
If you're in a bye week, kind of a bind, Geronimo Allison he's gonna put up some points. Like I said, like Aaron Rodgers is gonna throw the ball. The Rams are gonna score on the Packers, so they're gonna have to keep up. And I mean, I said it earlier in the podcast, the Rams secondary is the weakness of this defense. As if Aaron Rodgers gets time,
he can definitely pick you apart.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right, Jay, who you got?
Man, I'm kind of stuck between two. I mean, I
Same
love Tyler Boyd.
Okay. Well,
This week, I mean, I guess the slide. I think that's kind of an obvious one. But if you're stuck between a sleeper, say wide receiver, maybe 3, some bye weeks, I like Christian Kirk.
Okay.
This is a guy from Arizona. He gets 6 to 7 targets a game, playing against a San Francisco D that is shown to be vulnerable against speed, deep outside receivers. I mean.
And honestly, I like Byron Leftwich coming in this week. His first opportunity to be the OC in Arizona. So, and Rosen and Kirk seem to be on that page of throwing the deep ball. So I like that. I like that pick.
Definitely. I mean, you think Arizona, you're going in to stop who? David Johnson. So I think that kind of opens it up. He'll play on the opposite side of Richard Sherman. I just think there's some good opportunities there.
I ain't gonna lie, I would be happy if you called plays for the Arizona Cardinals.
I'd be happy if I did that too.
Like if you have David Johnson, he's not the focal point. Like
I don't understand what they're doing. Yeah, exactly.
All right, what do you got for your what do you got for the King?
For my King, I have AJ Green against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think he has a monster game with Andy Dalton. That's your flop, Phil?
I don't know.
No, it better not be.
I guess we'll have to wait.
I think AJ Green has a big game, catches a couple touchdowns this week.
Ain't much else to say because the Bucs. Well,
I'll say it. Yeah, they're terrible.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I said it. Yeah, so I like that.
All right, so on to the sits, Phil. What do you got?
I'm sitting Devin Funchess.
Yeah, that's a good one. I was thinking about that one as well.
I am. Now he's had a touchdown the last 3 weeks, I think, and it's been kind of late comeback type catches and stuff like that. He's putting up numbers this year and everything, but the Ravens defense going up against them, I just don't see it this week. I think Cam Newton, like you said earlier, Kinder, he struggles this week, and I think if anything, it'll be kind of in the slot away. Maybe Christian McCaffrey gets a lot of looks in the passing game. I just don't see any. I don't see anything good coming from Funchess this week.
Yeah, I don't like him as a fantasy football player. I really don't.
Yeah,
Might be
I
a good
understand.
guy, but
Yeah.
I would hate to play him.
He's not. You know where he went to school and college, so he's not a good guy.
I know you hate him. Yeah. Who you
All
got?
right, I am sitting Marvin Jones. They're playing Seattle, and I know Seattle's defense isn't what it used to be. It's not the Legion of Boom and all that, but they're still a tough matchup against wide receivers. And the past 3 weeks, Marvin Jones really hasn't been doing what he's capable of. So he's just kind of fallen off a little bit because it's really been, and not so much for his talent, because it's just really been the Kenny Galladay and Golden Tate show,
Yeah.
So I think this week you sit Marvin Jones, and you definitely start Galladay and Tate, but
Yeah.
I think Marvin Jones is a sit this week.
And not only that, just like Phil said, that running attack they're establishing the run. So
I think that they really understand what they have there with Kerryon Johnson, I believe. I mean, the guy is explosive, man.
Which could very well be the reason Marvin Jones, because it's been week 1 he didn't have a good game, but he had two solid games, not outstanding games, week 2 and 3, and then after that it's just been just very low games.
So he's been the clear number 3 this year behind Galladay and Tate.
Absolutely.
I think that's what he's become.
The one thing he does have, though, he has I think he leads the league in red zone targets, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
He gets red zone targets. It's just that bulk. It just hasn't turned into what I've seen the last 2 years.
Yeah.
With Marvin Jones, it's like his only points will come from a touchdown. They won't come from the yards that he'll get. Like, he won't have 50 yards. He won't have 60 or 70.
Yeah.
He'll have a 10-yard catch for a touchdown.
Yeah.
That's what his fantasy stat line seems like this year.
He has yet to have a game over 70 receiving yards. So that's something that you're looking at.
Ew.
Just think your play is looking at 60 yards and a touchdown.
And that's what you're hoping for.
Yeah, that's granted. He has the potential to break out and bust for over that, but I don't like it either. I agree with you, Mike, on that one.
You want to go next?
Yeah, I'll take one. It's kind of I'd say take the easy way out on this one, but Demaryius Thomas. I'm not even thinking about playing him whatsoever. And that goes to the fact of the rumor, the trade talk, but the fact that Case Keenum throws him the ball. They're playing in Kansas City. I just don't like Demaryius Thomas. I think that boy Corey Sutton has he's taken that role. He's a bigger receiver, just as big, and they love him. I think a little bit more nowadays. So.
Yeah, it seems like he's the Marvin Jones of the Broncos.
Yeah, and
Like,
Keenum,
he's
they like the running
back.
backs too with Lindsey Freeman. They run the ball really well. They like getting the ball to Sanders. And I think like Sutton. I just think Thomas is the 4th, 5th option. I just wouldn't even think about him no more.
It would be best for him if he did get traded, honestly.
I like that as a sit. That was one that I was looking at as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What you got, Dan?
I got Jordy Nelson.
Yeah, that was another one I was looking at.
You think it's like, all right, Amari Cooper's traded. Where's his targets going to go? Well, one, they never targeted him. So it's like, where's his 2 targets going to go? Oh, I don't know. Maybe to the running backs. And then 2, now it's like, oh well, Jordy Nelson's your best option in the passing game or as a receiver. So, as a defense, it's like, okay, how easy is it to shut down Jordy Nelson at this stage of his career?
Yeah.
If that's a focal point. So, I don't think that since Amari Cooper's gone that Jordy Nelson is going to get this big bump in value. I just don't see it.
Yeah, and they still have Martavis Bryant, so like you said, how often did Amari Cooper get targeted? And so I like that. I like that as a sit.
He had, it would be like alternating games, like 10 plus targets, then 1, then 9 or 10, then 2. It's like, so, it's just that, man, it would just be a headache to play him, man.
Yeah.
I wouldn't count on him.
Yeah. Who you flopping, Phil?
He had a dominant game against Atlanta. Odell is going to flop this week. Going up against Josh Norman again.
Oh,
with the
I
Redskins.
hope so, man.
I see him flopping this week. I don't see Eli having a chance of passing the ball. I think it's going to be the Barkley show and the Sterling Shepard show this week.
all right.
Okay.
All right, yeah.
I hope so, man.
All right, so moving on to tight ends.
Is there any,
I got to start, and I actually have a sit this week.
You do?
Only depending on what goes on with injury and stuff.
Yeah.
But my start of the week is CJ Uzama.
Yeah.
Going against Tampa Bay.
Man.
Last week, and I picked David Njoku last week to be my king. And Uzama was going to be my king. And that's just because Tampa Bay, in the past, 4 weeks now, they put up a tight end 1, a tight end 3, a tight end 1, and now a tight end 5 with Njoku. So I think Uzama is going to be a very solid start this week. And I'm a little upset that the guy I'm playing picked him up. Anybody else?
Yeah. The Bucks get no love ever.
Yeah.
Besides Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
I'm going OJ Howard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
Let's
good,
just start him, okay? You got him? Start him.
You got him, start him.
Yeah.
You got him, start
Put
him.
him in your lineup.
Put
Anybody
him in.
else?
I was gonna say CJ Uzoma too.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna say Jordan Reed because I'm a homer. Just play Jordan Reed. Is he gonna break out or is he just gonna be pedestrian all year?
I hear you.
So and if you have Jordan Reed, you probably don't have a backup tight end, and the waiver wire, the free agency is probably not looking
Just
too good.
depleted, man.
So I'll just say Jordan Reed just because I'm a homer.
Yeah, I'm loving Jimmy Graham this week. The Rams have been just tortured by tight ends. You look at Jared Cook. I mean, Jimmy Graham. It's not like this guy gets 3 targets. He's getting 8 to 10 targets a week. I love that Allison and Cobb come back. Take that. To me, I'm looking at 1-on-1 coverage. I mean, if you got Jimmy Graham, I think that's a must start. It's just a no-brainer, especially in a potential shootout where Rodgers could be trailing at some point. So I love Jimmy Graham. Start him.
All right, Phil, you had somebody else?
I got one. George Kittle.
Yeah.
This guy came out recently and said that he actually cares about your fantasy lineup.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know what? I haven't been producing the last 2 weeks, and I'm going to step it up for you guys.
They were what? They were reviewing a touchdown, and he told somebody on the defense, he's like, I really need this to be a touchdown. I got to step it up for my fantasy.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So George Kittle, man, good on you.
Yeah.
Way to be thinking about us, not just your team.
Yeah,
I get it.
He's a man of the people.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so my quick king, and this is obvious, Travis Kelce.
Yeah, I knew.
So,
It's definitely
we
obvious.
can move on. We can move on from Travis Kelce now.
Yeah. Just know that Denver's not good against tight ends. Just target tight ends against Denver.
All right, so does anybody have a tight end sit? It's hard. The reason why it's so hard to have a tight end sit is because it is so depleted. You basically have to play really anybody that you can get your hands on.
Yeah. Who you
Yeah,
got?
true. I mean, if I have multiple tight ends, if you got multiple tight ends, and Evan Ingram's one of them, I'm looking at the next option. I just don't think Evan Ingram
Yeah.
is. I'm thinking he's definitely a flop. Redskins defense is tight. Eli Manning's trash. They give all their targets to Barkley. They got Shepard in the slot. Evan Ingram. What are you looking for?
Yeah.
4 catches, 34, 40 yards. Evan Ingram's not an appealing play to me.
Yeah, he's on my team, and I have to start him because he's the best out there.
Yeah.
But it's it just hurts, man, because I know what you're talking about. I agree with
honestly,
everything that you're saying.
The tight end position, it's been
hurt.
a struggle this year. Honestly,
been-
if you don't have a Kelsey or even a Zach
Eric Ebron.
Ertz or Ebron, it's like
Jimmy Graham.
every single week it's tough to fill that void. So
Yeah, and my sit would have been it all depends on whether Jack Doyle's back or not. If Jack Doyle's back this week, you're probably not in a position to sit Eric Ebron because he's just been a monster. But I don't think he's going to put up the game. I think he's still startable, but I don't think he's going to put up the games that he has been putting up if Jack Doyle's back.
Yeah.
I think Gronk's flopping again.
Yeah,
Is he going to play?
If it doesn't matter, he's flopping.
he's definitely going to flop if he doesn't play.
Gosh,
That's a guaranteed flop at that point.
And he plays Monday night, too. That sucks, man.
Yeah. That's tough.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. All right, so anything with defense?
I mean, I think it's a good week for defenses.
Yeah, as far as stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It's actually a really good week for streaming defenses. I think the Panthers are a decent stream this week.
Yeah,
I
honestly,
ended up getting lucky and was able to pick them up after people just took everybody else off of waivers. I can't stand that league when everybody picks up off of waivers. It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
I think you're one of them.
Yeah, I do. And the main thing is defenses. It's like, man, ever since I dropped, who did I draft for defense? I can't
remember.
Was it?
I dropped so many defense.
I would have to
don't
look
even
at
know.
it, and I think I had high hopes for that defense, and they were just completely trash. And it was just like, okay, they got to go. And I'm just going week to week defenses, and I got to use a waiver to get them. Say, hey, I'll put a waiver in for a defense.
Yeah.
I'm at that situation.
Yeah.
So, but I did pick up Chiefs D, so I think Chiefs D is a good start. I think Phillies D is a good start.
Oh, absolutely.
A sleeper deal, like I said, I go with. I'm biased, but I think Detroit in a tight game at home, big game, new D tackle. I like them guys.
I like either the 49ers or Arizona this week.
Yeah.
I feel like it might be a shootout of a game in a way, but I think both quarterbacks have that turnover potential. You know what I'm saying? With Rosen and, so I like that. I think those are streaming options, but you're right. This is a good week. I wouldn't start the Bucks. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this week's definitely a good one.
I got Arizona in one of my leagues. I didn't even like check the waiver wire because I'm going to play them.
Yeah.
Another defense I like is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
If they're out there, I would definitely pick them up because
they're coming off the bye, so they could be out there.
Coming off the bye, Baker he's a rookie.
Yeah.
They're going into a hostile environment.
Absolutely.
I don't think Baker is going to put up these fantasy stats that all these people are going to say he's going to do. So
I agree.
Definitely not this week. And I don't think the Colts defense would be a bad stream this week.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
All right, so my king for the week, which is also a possible stream. You never know if they're out there or not, but is the New England Patriots.
Okay. Yeah.
They're playing Buffalo this week, so basically my king at defense has always been anybody that's playing Buffalo.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's hard to argue that.
All right, so we probably don't have any sits for defense, right? We got a flop, Phil?
No.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
It's hard to do a sit for defense.
It really is, man.
Except for outside the obvious, but so what's next, Dan?
All right, so let's do this real quick game because Julio Jones doesn't have a touchdown on the year, and it's just kind of funny to see who has more touchdowns than Julio Jones, right?
Oh boy.
So
Everybody.
So yeah, pretty much, yeah. If you play in the NFL, you have more touchdowns.
Kyle Juszczyk has more touchdowns.
It actually does, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna do four groups of players. All right, I'm just gonna name two players, and you're gonna tell me which one has more touchdowns than Julio Jones.
All right, let's do this
that's-
rapid fire.
Is that easy?
Let's do
Rapid
it.
fire. Get
All
ready,
right,
Jay.
first one. All right. It's gonna be tricky. I'll do Amari Cooper and Rico Gathers.
Gathers.
God, are you serious?
Because I don't think Amari Cooper has any.
Did he not?
I really don't think he has any.
I don't think so either.
Ty?
Nah, Amari Cooper has one.
Does?
I tricked you. Yeah, I
I
tricked you.
thought you were going with
I'm
the
about to say,
All right.
no way.
I don't
This-
know who this guy is.
This is going to get interesting now. All right. Noah Sterling or Ryan Switzer? Who has more touchdowns?
I know Sterling.
I think it's Switzer.
Switzer only has that. Are you counting punt returns?
I'm counting receiving touchdowns.
Just receive. I'll go Sterling.
I
I'll go
don't
Sterling.
think-
I
I
think
don't think
Sterling has
Switzer
2 to
has
1. Is it 2 to 1?
It's
3 to 2?
Switzer.
Oh,
Yeah, Switzer.
When did
I
he
just
score?
remember.
I know he
just
scored
remember
one.
seeing him getting in the end
I think he
zone
scored
one time.
against. Was it against the Bucks? I think. Against the Bucks?
yeah, that was it.
I think
Yeah,
it was against the Bucks.
that's the one I remember.
Yeah,
How many does he have?
one.
Sterling has none.
So has none. All right. This. All right. Let's try this one. Josh Doxson or Laquan Treadwell.
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 Treadwell had that game against gosh, I can't remember what it was.
Nah.
He had a touchdown. Like he got the touchdown first, like right at the beginning of the game.
No,
Unless that got
I think
called back.
I think you're thinking Aldrick Robinson.
Nah.
No, Treadwell. You think
Robinson
that? I'm
did
going
have-
Dodson. Is it Dodson?
But I think
I don't think Dotson has one.
no, I don't
Is
think
it
Dawson
Ty-
did
But
it.
I
I've
don't
been wrong
think
3
neither one
times in
of
a
them.
row,
Treadwell
so
had
let's
one.
see
If you
what's
got him on
up.
your
It's
fantasy.
Treadwell.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember what game
One
that
nothing?
was.
Yeah, 1-0. Yeah.
Yeah. He got it like right there at the beginning of the game. I was like, man, I should have played Treadwell in my FanDuel.
Oh my god.
All right, last one.
Joe Montana.
Chad Williams or Raheem Mostert.
Did Mostert get in?
I don't know if Moster's got in.
No, I think all he
I think
has
he has
is
none.
yards.
I would go Chad Williams. Chad Williams,
You
Arizona.
know what? I just like the name. Let's go Mozart.
I can't remember if he got in the end zone or not against that late night game. That one Thursday night game. I can't remember if he got in or not. Or Monday night
The
game.
suspense is killing me. Who we got?
I'm going Williams.
Chad Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think he got in.
Man. Oh, it is so crazy. Like how many people like have more than him. I wish I mean that's kind of fun. I wish we
I
could do
really
it more,
hope
but
that
we're
the
running out of
Falcons
time.
really use this bye week to figure out how they're going to get Julio in the end zone.
Absolutely. He's got to get a touchdown,
Man.
man. Like, I would just be aching for a touchdown if I was Julio Jones. Like, hey, what's that touchdown feel like?
So I can't even
Hey,
take
Calvin.
this end zone anymore.
Hey, Calvin, what's that touchdown feel like? I forget what those feel like.
Good lord.
All right, so what do you got for the fantasy stud of the past?
Fantasy
Jay?
stud.
Let's hit this as
right.
fast as we can.
Let's go back 15 years.
Holy
Man,
cow.
man.
16 years. 2002, 2003.
I told you, man. It's the most magical year of
It was
football.
definitely a magical year. We're looking at a guy who ran. How about can I go over 2 seasons, or just 1 year? What do you want?
Priest Holmes.
That's
Did you
what-
just cheat?
that's the way it is.
What kind
I'm
of
telling you.
stuff is
We already
that?
used him.
We've
Every
used Priest
single
Holmes
year.
twice.
Have you?
Yeah.
I mean, that dude. I'm just looking at his numbers. It's like 2 years, 3,000 yards, 48 touchdowns, over 1,300 yards receiving.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to talk about a monster?
Right.
Yeah, when you,
I mean, you think about Todd Gurley, man.
As soon as you
Good
said 2003, I'm like, okay, it's either
Yeah.
Priest Holmes
so
or
when you said can I do both years? I
It was just Priest Holmes. Those are magical.
Because we did Priest Holmes in 2003, and then I think it was Tyler wasn't here that week, and he come back.
He
and
did the same
Priest
thing.
Holmes. So like it took us forever to guess it because we're like, nah, like it wouldn't be Priest Holmes.
Do we have
We wouldn't do
a,
that twice.
Man,
can you spitfire another one?
I can do another one since
Oh,
All
y'all
right,
won't.
so Dan has one.
All right,
Let's see what
because
you got, Dan.
I've had this in the back pocket for a while because
Oh,
y'all
man.
won't let me do another one.
Yeah,
No,
because you're our
yeah,
guesser, man.
yeah.
So all right,
Let's see if your brother has the skills that you have.
2012, not too far back.
Not too far.
All right, running back. All right. So 2012 was when Adrian Peterson came back, won MVP, 2,000 plus yards, had a monster year.
Yeah.
This guy was second in rushing with 1,600 yards, 13 touchdowns, was a rookie, and he didn't even win Rookie of the Year. His teammate won Rookie of the Year.
Oh wow.
2012
2012.
running back.
NFC.
Ooh,
2012. Ain't your boy Alfred Morris?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just thought about it now.
Wow.
Alfred Morris.
Wow.
He did have a great year that year.
And this,
who
this
won
read
Rookie of the
option.
Year that year?
RG3.
RG3,
Oh, yeah.
the read option.
Wow.
RG.
Holy cow.
Nice.
Holy cow.
Isn't that
Good
good, I
on you.
think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good on you.
That was a solid one. Not,
Yeah.
nothing too crazy. You didn't have to go that far back.
Yeah. At least it was like fantasy relevant for me and not just you.
And that's the thing with Alfred Morris. Like, he was pretty much undrafted, or if you drafted later in the preseason, he was a late round flyer.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And this is the guy that won you the league.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
he
Absolutely.
was a beast.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that does it here at Overtime Fantasy. We appreciate you guys listening once again. Follow us at Overtime Fantasy on Facebook, at Overtime Fantasy on Instagram, and at Fantasy Overtime on, once again, that was Fantasy Overtime on Twitter. Yeah, check us out. Be ready for our Facebook Live at 11:45 on Sunday. We're going to go live again, and we'll bring you all the up-to-date news and information. We'll answer all your questions and get you ready for this week's fantasy matchup.
Absolutely, and I want to give a special thank you to Jay for stopping by and sharing your wisdom on how to win some serious bucks. And I also, I want to give a shout out to Brian Shalamian.
Brian Shalamian.
You know what I mean?
End of the
like
podcast
end of the
shout-out.
podcast shout. It's kind of rare.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
realized it didn't happen, so I'm taking it.
And a big shout out
Yeah.
to Dan's boy Joe here. He's gonna hook us up with a new intro,
Absolutely.
and possible outro, and He's actually here on the couch hanging out with us right now.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
man. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Hope we can help you out now. Don't hope the flops really work in my
Hope
favor
they
here.
start
Yeah.
flopping.
Hope they start flopping.
All right, thanks for listening.
Dan, do you have anything to say? You do? You don't?